There's going to be another fun episode of Midwest Midcard, starting yours truly. I think I should just get started. The intro probably already played because I edit this shit, so also I know when the intro is going to come in. Welcome back to Midwest Midcard. This is a solo episode, a solo Sokoa episode. Shout out to my tribal chief, Solo Sokoa. Acknowledge him. If this is your first time listening, make sure that you leave a like on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe, comment something, send me a tweet at Midwest Midcard, or if you want to send me to my personal Twitter at AirCarlos97. I am the person that you know as Air Carlos if you've listened before. No co-host today. It is what it is, man. We're just here. We're gonna talk about some wrestling stuff, mostly WWE. I don't have a lot of thoughts on AEW stuff right now. That's what I got. Little editor note here. So the set looks a little bit different than it did last week. If you watched last week's episode, the lighting is probably a little bit different too because I fixed it, and I think I like this setup. Hopefully there's not a big glare on my glasses because I do wear glasses, and that is kind of nightmarish when you do video. It's the studio is pretty hot, so we're just going to fight through it. But we do have the, if you're on the video, if you're on YouTube, I highly recommend you see it so you can see the set, because you can see that we have my favorite championship ever, which is the Big Eagle WWE/WWF Championship. This is the WWE version because it was purchased from WWE shop with the blue strap. So this is the original one that the original, should say, colors that Stone Cold pulled up with whenever he debuted the title. This title is very near and dear to my heart because I am a huge Stone Cold fan, and because I just like it. I just think it's a beautiful title. Shout out to my boy Cody. He printed these brackets for me. It's just nice. So we got Spider-Man behind me now. Pause. And everything else looks kind of the same, but I don't know. We'll see how long it stays like this. This is an ever-changing studio, Midwest Midcard is that ever-changing brand. And I'm just yapping, sorry for yapping. And I did want to kind of get into some stuff. I got my notes, so I'm going to be looking at the monitor. It's going to be a little weird to stare at the camera, but then at the monitor. The people that just listen in audio, they're just like, what the fuck is he talking about? And trying to keep it light today. So, SmackDown. SmackDown is not my favorite show to follow along. I am excited for SummerSlam because I will be attending this. For those that don't know, that don't really listen to this regularly, I will be attending SummerSlam in Cleveland. So I am excited for following along with stories. However, nothing that is happening on SmackDown is like my favorite thing. I'm not even enjoying this too much, which is the Bloodline went ahead and took out Randy Orton. So after the tag team title match, DIY retained, and Jacob Fatu essentially just did his highlight reel. He just pulled up, and this guy, he is a freak of nature. In a way that Jacob Fatu is like the best Triple H wrestler. He, the internet guys that like indies and shit, they like him. He used to be a little bit beefier, but now he's a little bit more trim. So he's got a good build. The casuals that I shouldn't say the casuals, WWE fans that only watch WWE can be impressed by him right away because of his build and because of the things he can do in the ring. He can do some Rey Mysterio moves. He's like I've seen like the Umaga and Jeff Hardy's love child is what I've heard. That's a pretty good description of Jacob Fatu, except I don't think neither Umaga nor Jeff Hardy could really cut promos, and apparently he's a really good promo as well based on what I've seen, little clips here and there from MLW, Fatu, and you know what? And I say that the whole perfect Triple H wrestler, it's kind of interesting that how the opinion of wrestler has shifted in a way, probably thanks to Big E. It's funny that a joke turned into such a acceptance of big wrestlers, like big guys. For a while, that was kind of the standard. Even just even recently, I mean, think of people like John Cena and Batista. These guys are on top. They're pretty built, and clearly for a while, any guys that were coming through FCW and even a little bit of NXT were just big guys that had very little personality. Your Alex Riley's, like I said, your Mason Ryans. These guys were just big, and they were just kind of there. They didn't have much to give. I'm sure. Listen, if for some reason Alex Riley or Mason Ryan are listening to this podcast, I'm sorry. It's just how I feel, man. They never clicked for me. And you know what? I was a Miz guy. I love Mike the Miz. Shout out Mike Missanen, man. So anyway, the opinion on these big wrestlers has shifted so much with people like Obafemi being the North American champion. I'm not a huge fan of him, so I'm sorry. But I do appreciate that there's a lot, like I said, a lot more acceptance of these big guys with your Bronson Reeds, your Otises, and then like the big muscular guys, like I said, Biggie, kind of made it cool to be a big meaty guy again, and like see that there's like different matches, and not every match has to be like the flippy indie match, and not every match has to be this technical thing. Some matches can just be two guys just fucking just going at it. And to be fair, a lot of the big guys, going back to Jacob Fatu, that he, like I said, he's trimmed now. He's not as big, but back when he was more like a beefy boy, he was still doing the crazy shit, being a beefy boy. So I think that kind of like oxymoron, it's really popular with a lot of the guys. But again, I'm a big fan of like just like a traditional big man. Vader did a lot of athletic shit, but he was just a big man for the most part. Bam Bam Bigelow, he could do a fucking moonsault. But again, just mostly a traditional big man. I like traditional big man. Taker, I'm not a huge Taker fan. I'm not a Mark Calloway guy. But listen, Taker pulled up. He did some athletic shit. He was big as fuck. No reason for him to be doing the fucking, the old school and shit like that. I mean, you're too big to be doing that shit. Whenever he did that dive at WrestleMania 25, you're too damn big to be doing that shit, Undertaker. Knock it off. So I'm kind of just rambling now. But anyway, getting back to the Bloodline thing, Cody Rhodes is kind of like, I think the Cody Rhodes appeal. I still like Cody. I'm not gonna not like Cody. There's not like an inch of me that's like, he's getting boring or wherever. I like watching Cody. I think the corniness is part of like the appeal. So I do like, again, I like just seeing him just be Cody Rhodes. But there is a lot of this like dumb babyface syndrome that happens with most babyface guys. They just kind of are not very smart. They get into situations for themselves where like he doesn't have to fight the Bloodline on his own, but he's got to pull up on them because he's just trying to be brave. But at the end of the day, it is pretty fucking stupid. Randy came to help him out, and Randy's kind of being embellished in the storyline with the Bloodline, and I just don't know where Randy fits here. I think that if we get that Roman return, it's cool that you have Roman, but then like what, where does Randy fit in all this again? Is Roman just like, hey, I'm gonna like take care of Solo and then I'll come back to you, Cody? Because I feel like Solo obviously, he's been kind of trying to take his spot, but think about the guy that took everything from you, which is Cody Rhodes in the first place. Why would you focus on Solo? So then that brings the question, what the hell is Randy Orton doing? Is he just here to like be like a stand-in? So you have like, so Cody has like a friend and he doesn't look like a fucking loser idiot, or is is Randy going to be like the plan for like further along? Maybe he turns or whatever. I personally wouldn't like to see him turn just because we've seen it too much, and I don't know if it's got legs. Cody needs that big emotional feud that's gonna like carry him for the rest of the year, or at least for the next few months, because he hasn't had much to like work with. The AJ thing was pretty brief and not super like psychological. Didn't have a lot of legs to me. The Logan Paul thing just kind of came and went. So again, it's just time for him to have something better to focus on. And I still don't think the solo match should be the main event of SummerSlam. But I do get that if Roman is returning for SummerSlam, that it would make sense to have him, to have it be the main event strictly just because you need that surprise at the end of the show. And SummerSlam, I don't know. I mean, they kind of made references to like, returns at SummerSlam and shit like that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Again, SmackDown doesn't have a lot for me to like get invested in, so I'm not super hyped for this. Maybe once Roman's back, it'll feel a little better. But I just feel like there's been a lot of like, since Mania, the Mania hangover is real, man. They kicked it off on Raw, and they've been doing a lot of crazy shit on Raw. But SmackDown is just, maybe Fox is not, they're not demanding as much because they're like, you guys are moving out at the end of the year, so who gives a shit? Yeah, man, make it a watchable show. You still gotta get those viewers in USA. They're not just gonna show up just because, and some people just don't have USA. They can watch shit on Fox, but not everyone can watch on USA. So, that's kind of where we're at. Speaking of Raw, though, having some good shit, Rhea Ripley, of course, came back last week. But this week, Rhea kind of called out Liv, and she talked her shit. And Dominik was trying to win Rhea Ripley's, kind of affection back. He brought her a rose, and, he was trying to, like, talk to her, he was trying to raise her up, doing all that shit. And then Liv appeared on the screen, say her name, and she appears, and she was kind of like, Rhea, I already took everything away from you, so I'm going to continue doing that. And Rhea's like, I'm bloody Rhea Ripley. At SummerSlam, I'm gonna fuck you up. And yeah, so they set up the match. Again, I'm glad that this is happening, because for a couple weeks there, before Rhea came back, I was just like, I don't know about this. They've been building this ever since Liv pretty much hurt Rhea. Then she won the title. Then she was just kind of coasting and coasting and coasting. Rhea Ripley's finally back, so we can finally have a proper feud. It's still my favorite story on Raw. And again, Raw has a lot of fun stuff, but it's still my favorite story on Raw. Liv did say like, let me do my Liv Morgan impression again. Rhea, I am not going to run away from you anymore. And then later on, she proceeded just to run away. Somebody that was happy about Rhea returning, though, obviously not Liv, it was Jey Uso. I did like the little segment with Damian Priest. I know a lot of people don't fuck with Priest, man, and that's fine. They want Gunther. They want not someone that's a mid-card talent being a world champion. But Damian Priest not only is a main event wrestler, he is also a big match wrestler. Damian Priest shows up when it matters. And in those big matches, and that big match that's coming up with Gunther, he will show up. He is him, all right? He will retain against Gunther. And I'm going to just, early prediction, he's going to retain. Fuck it, But Jey Uso and Damian kind of going back and forth, and he's like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm trying to holler at Rhea. And Priest is like, wepa. He doing his fucking Boricua shit, his Puerto Rican, style. he's kind of out here, and Dom is just like, what the fuck? And Jay kind of fucks off, and later on in the segment, Dominik is like, oh, Rhea, I'm gonna show Jay that you are mine. And Rhea's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker? And so then, Jay and Dominik had a match, and Liv Morgan shenanigans. Fucking Dom lost, something that I pointed out to my wife whenever we were watching this. I was like, hey, listen, for as much as Liv maybe doing what she's doing, last week when Dominik had a match, he won the match thanks to Liv Morgan. This week he lost thanks to Rhea Ripley. So I'm just saying there's a point to be made there. And it kind of brings the question, is Rhea Ripley not good for Dominik? I think the answer is yes, because after she said, hey, Dom, I am not yours. You are mine. And maybe Dom is okay with the idea of being a sub to her actual Dom, which is mommy, Rhea Ripley. But also, like, maybe he's in cahoots with Liv Morgan, and maybe, maybe there is a bigger plan at stake. And, like I said, just slow burn. Long-term storytelling, that classic fucking Paul Levesque booking, Priest, I already kind of ranted on him, but he had a pretty funny interaction with Gunther. Gunther, again, just talking his shit, and Priest has been kind of a little bit of the inspirational Hispanic man, successful Hispanic man promos, does a little bit of Spanish here and there, and then Gunther is like, you know what, Priest, you're pretty much fucking broke ass. My parents gave me everything I needed. I'm better because my parents actually love me, unlike your broke ass parents. And Priest is like, what the fuck? I'm getting fucking cooked, man. I'm getting cooked. Priest is like, I wrote in my notes here about that he's teetering on being a babyface. I think he's kind of just a babyface, and I like the idea, which this is not gonna happen. I think him and Rhea are eventually gonna break away from whatever the Judgment Day will become with, if Liv is like the head of Judgment Day eventually. But I do like the idea of having babyface and heels in a single team. Like, why can't they be, because not every babyface has to be friends with the other babyfaces, and not every heel has to be friends with the other heels. So why can't there be a team of heels and babyfaces, together? Essentially, you can have Damian Priest be a babyface, but everyone else in Judgment Day is a heel, and they still celebrate together and are friends, but maybe the Priest is not like one to like help him like cheat or anything like that, and he gets cheered but they get booed. I think it would be an interesting dynamic, because in Friends group, not everyone's a babyface, man. You can clip that, and by you I mean me. In real Friends groups, not everyone is a babyface, okay? And if you are watching or listening to this and you are thinking, yeah, I mean, not everyone's a babyface. Clearly, I am the babyface. You are not the babyface. You are very much the heel of your friend group, and you need to find ways to change because you suck and nobody likes you. I mean, some people may like you. I'm just saying. Moving on to people not liking. I'm just kidding. Unrelated. Man, I'm flying through these topics, man. I feel like this might be a short episode. I'm just kind of going through the motions, man. But again, I was ready for a co-host, so I'm just gonna have to carry, chug along, and chug along. So, Bo Dallas, he got called out by Chad Gable. Chad Gable, backstage, he was like, "I figured it out, Pierce. Fucking Chad Gable is actual or Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas," and Pierce is like, "No fucking shit, man. He is Bo Dallas. Like, we know that he is because he told us he was Bo Dallas." And he called him out. He came out, and then they finally did the payoff. And strangely, last week I was like, Where is the fucking payoff with the Creeds? I'm convinced that Triple H watches the show or listens to it. Him and Stephanie put it in the kitchen while they're cooking or something. Their kids probably hate it. They're like, "Where's Zach? We like Zach. That's my favorite co-host. Shout out Zach." Or they're like, "This guy sucks when he's by himself." So the Creeds actually helped Gable kind of jump Bo Dallas. Finally, they showed up. Julius Creed wearing the most ridiculous outfit I've ever seen. He was wearing these fucking shoes. It doesn't matter. Whatever they were trying to do, it's just not working, man. I'm sorry. You're a good looking guy, man. Just find a suit that fits you well. Find some shoes that fit you well, that look good. Don't try to do some crazy shit with the shoes or the shirts. Just like, sometimes less is more. That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing a fucking purple John Cena shirt. Who am I to talk about fashion? I'm just saying, all right? So, yeah, so they came to help him. Eventually, Bo Dallas was like getting like jumped real bad, but the Wyatt Sicks showed up. Some good stuff from them. Again, I'm enjoying that stuff with them. They just kind of intimidated them out of the ring, and they kind of did the classic Wyatt's pose, the Bray Wyatt pose, looking at the sky with the arms extended out. That kind of stuff, it does. It gets me a little emotional because Bo just like, now that Bray is gone, he just looks so much more like Bray. The big beard, doesn't really help because they just, obviously they're brothers. They're going to look alike. But now more than ever that Bray is missing and maybe his face doesn't seem as familiar as it did once. Seeing Bray or Bo so often, it just kind of like, it's like kind of like a big mind fuck. And it does make you think of Bray because of the setup, because of the look. They're very similar, and it's more noticeable now that Bray is missing. Eric Rowan had a video package that was also like very, very emotional. The line was, I am trying to remember exactly, but it was something like, "Who cares about Rowan? He's essentially, he's not important. This man has lost, two probably of his best friends in a span of only a few years. Brody first, and then Bray a few years later. So I get he's going through a lot. I'm glad he's part of it. The video was really good. I don't think he's ever gotten to show that side of him. So I like that he was able to do that because he also deserves some closure. He also deserves to be able to materialize Bray's vision, if this is his vision or if it was, or if it's close to whatever he wanted to do. I think he deserves to be a part of it, I would say. Now, kind of going back to the Gable thing, what the fuck is going on with the Alpha Academy shit? Like, is that just over? Is he just like moved on? And I mean, you can't really insert them into the Wyatt stuff, and I think it would be silly for him to, like, let's say he gets beat up by the Wyatts or Bo or whatever, and then the Creeds are just not enough to like help him, so then he's gotta go back to the Alpha Academy. That seems like a waste of having the Creeds tag along with him. I think the Alpha Academy thing is just done, and it's kind of a shame because I feel like it had more legs, and we never got like a really good payoff with Otis. So maybe they'll pick it back up once, he's a little more down. Like, they're already not buried in like the wrestling sense, but I think Chad Gable's morale is the lowest that it's ever been. So maybe they're just trying to knock him down even more, so that once he has to fight Otis again, there's more, like, he's more of a shell of who he was, and there's just more weight to it. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe SummerSlam. I mean, there's room for at least, I would say, like 8 matches. They try to put a little bit more on SummerSlam shows. Let me check to see how many matches were in the last year's SummerSlam 2023, and then we'll kind of evaluate from there, and I'll tell you exactly. So it looks like SummerSlam 2023, SummerSlam, also promoted as SummerSlam Detroit, was the 36th annual SummerSlam professional wrestling pay-per-view. Let's see, let's make this a little bit bigger. I don't know why I just did the racist Japanese / Asian song. Sorry. Am I gonna cut that? Probably not. So let's see what we got here. So yes, 9 matches in last year's card. Now to be fair, actually 8 matches. Sorry, one of them was the Io Sky cash in, so that's not really. It's an 8-second match. I don't think that counts. Wow, that Bianca Belair Asuka match went 20 minutes. Oh, sorry, Bianca Belair Asuka Charlotte Flair triple threat went 20 minutes and 45 seconds. The main event went 36 minutes. Holy shit, dude. Holy shit. That match was long and painful. And I didn't hate it. It was just like, the ending is so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. I like Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. And I had fun with the 25-man Slim Jim Battle Royal. So they'll probably have, 8 matches. So let's see. Can we fit Uncle Howdy and Gable? So let's see. So we got Cody and Solo. It's looking like what it is. We got Bayley, Nia Jax. We got Damian Priest, Gunther. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley. Probably Drew and Punk. We'll talk about it. Probably Drew and Punk or Rollins or something. Maybe you can throw in LA Knight and Logan Paul. So that's 6. You could do 7, Gable and Uncle Howdy, and then maybe do like a tag team. Well, no, because then you need to pick one tag team title. Maybe they'll do another battle royal. Maybe they'll do, I don't know. Maybe you have a couple pre-show matches. I don't fucking know anymore. So that's 8 matches, I guess. If you do Gable and Uncle Howdy, and then you do one more of those. I forgot about Sammy and fucking Braun Breaker. I don't know. Maybe you can't fit him in the card. Maybe that's just a Raw feud, and then you paid off the Monday before SummerSlam or after SummerSlam, or you just hold off until Bash at Berlin. I think after Bash, it's probably Bad Blood. I think. I would imagine. I don't think they would put Uncle Howdy because they do those 5-card matches. 5-card matches, 5-card shows that are like super fucking short, and there's an hour of commercials in between. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that. There's no telling what it would be. What it will be is what I should say. So I briefly mentioned it while I was going through my SummerSlam card, but what's going on with CM Punk, man? This might be just like part of the story that CM Punk is not cleared according to Pierce, and maybe we'll find out that he's clear when he does takes a bump, or he does like a GTS or something like that. Maybe that's the way we're gonna find out. But Pierce was just like trying to talk to Drew about like his suspension, and he was trying to get him to apologize to refs because Drew was, he was doing what he was doing. Drew was just like, no fucking way that I'm apologizing to the fucking Eddie Munster ref and the other fucking short little guy. So yeah, I mean, he didn't want to apologize. He started getting belligerent. I thought Pierce was gonna fight him. I think he should have. I think might as well What the fuck is he? It's a wrestling, this is the type of job they do where you can find your boss. Okay, so this is your opportunity, Pierce, to fight your employees, and for Drew, this is your opportunity to fight your boss. And if you're listening to this, always get into a fight with your boss. Okay, I'm just kidding. Please, don't get into a fight with your boss. You'll get fired. Unless if you are your own boss, then I mean that's an eternal struggle, to constantly fighting yourself. So Seth is actually the one that came to attack Drew to like aid, the fucking the ring officials, and he tried to give him a curb stomp, but he kind of slithered away, and Seth seems to be involved. So either he's gonna be special ref, either he's taking over for Punk if Punk is not cleared, because the rumor from what I've heard is that Punk maybe isn't cleared. But again, I feel like that is not really like a thing. I think that we're just getting worked, which is fine. I like to believe that Punk is not cleared, and they're like, actually, I am cleared. But Rollins is definitely involved, so that puts like the slightest bit of doubt in my mind, and it makes it difficult for me to just be like straight up be like, no, this is what's gonna happen. This is the match. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I wouldn't mind Seth as a special ref, but I wanted a stipulation match, either a street fight or something. No DQ, last man standing, something. Because the feud has been so like psychological and so much shit has happened, and Drew just fucking hates this man. I wanted to have more dog collar match is what I really want. I doubt, WWE is going to go that direction. Probably get some color. You probably want to get some color because you need it, man. You need in a feud like that, you definitely need color. I mean, fucking Cody and AJ got color, so fuck it. This is a much more personal feud. This first. It's gonna be the first match. I think it might end up being a trilogy or at least 2 matches. If they space them out correctly, it could be like a great trilogy. But I think it very much the beginning of a feud. So I would be okay with, if the stakes are gonna raise, then you can do the stipulation. I just would want to do that. And again, if it is a big blow off at SummerSlam, that is the only match. Get color, do the stipulation, go all out. Whatever. Don't do the triple threat. Seth Rollins, Drew, Punk. It's just not like right now. It doesn't have the heat that it needs. And who am I? I'm not a fucking expert. I just don't think that it's the right place to do that type of match just yet. I would just hold off on it. So, man, if Punk is not cleared, it's gonna fucking suck, man. I thought I was gonna see him wrestle. It's been so long. And this was my opportunity to see him. So I'm going to be pissed if it doesn't happen. And I might throw hands with Michael Cole. And Michael Cole, if you're listening to this, be careful, okay? Because I might throw hands with you. Let's see. So, I mean, as far as wrestling topics, that's pretty much all I have. I'm not going to lie. More of a brief episode, honestly. And that is because, like I said, I just thought that I would have more, and I had questions for my co-host that I don't have today. So, yeah. So, we out here, and now I'm just looking at Twitter to see if there's. I don't think that I saved like bookmark anything that I wanted to like get into. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if this episode sucked. Like truly, I'm sorry if it was not like the most fun episode, but sometimes it'd be like that. So let's see. If you're listening to this, make sure my boy the Big Meer, he was a co-host one episode. He just started doing these like little like they're like 10 minute, 13, 15 minute think of like a limited, no, that's not it, like a mini episode of a podcast where he breaks down one topic pretty quickly, and he gives his opinions on it. Let's see. He recently, I know he did one on the wrestling Mount Rushmore. He had some opinions about that. I share that on Twitter. He's done one on punk rock. He's a big fan of punk rock. So he did he did one on that. Looks like he did one on bad movies. So if you're not, if you want to listen to something quickly, enjoyable, and you want to disagree or agree with him, go find it. I'll leave I'll leave a link on the description. But you'll find him. Let me give you the right name, so you can actually find it, and I'm not just like saying some shit. So you can find him he's on Spotify, and he is also on Apple Podcast. You're looking for the Big Meer podcast. This mini show is called Let's Talk About Feelings. And again, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, so at least 5 episodes of Let's Talk About Feelings. 10 minutes, 13 minutes, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 11 minutes. Pretty easy. Listen, go find him. Go find him on Apple Podcast or Spotify as well. And if you made it all the way to the end of the episode, because that's about all we have, make sure that you leave a review on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. 5 stars if you enjoyed it. If you like anything that I do here, please tell me that you like it. Add Midwest Midcard on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all platforms, all social medias. TikTok, follow TikTok. We broke, I think we're up to like 500 maybe. Trying now. I need to fact check this, but I'm not gonna say that I'm killing it on TikTok, but I am very. That is like all organic, or organic follows, and that makes me very happy because I work pretty hard on those TikToks, man, and I want to make sure that that people like them. I can't even see it right now. Trying to fact check myself, but I want to make sure that people enjoy them. It seems like some people do enjoy them because I have, like I said, I've earned every single follow. I've earned everything in my life, man. At least on TikTok. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. But we broke another landmark for followers, so I'm really happy for that. I just also did another edit for a match I did for Santos Escobar versus Tony D'Angelo. This was a street fight, if I'm not mistaken. NXT Heat. Yes, it was a street fight. NXT Heat Wave. There was a stipulation that if Tony D'Angelo won, that the Legado del Fantasma would stay with the D'Angelo family, and if Santos would have to go away forever. But if Santos won, then the Legado would have to go back, could be broken away from the D'Angelo family. It was a fun street fight, very NXT 2.0. The ending, you'll see it if you watch the edit. Find it on my Twitter at Midwest Midcard. By the way, if you see it, you'll see the ending is just so cinematic, and it's cool. I like the match, and I like doing the edit. I think it was fun. I tried a couple things on it, so hopefully you like it, and hopefully you like this episode. And I am Eric Carlos, and live, laugh, love, and wrestle. And I'll see you next week.